like how you look. What are you?
Puerto Rican.
You'd be a widow?
I know, I just want to know who the guy is.
You're dead. What's in your business?
Yo, Tito, man, I like you.
Any friend of yours is a friend of mine, B. What's up?
Nice to meet you, Tito. Yeah.
Let me tell you something about Luis Antonio Ramos. Remember when this man was about to blow up and then poof, disappeared faster than my ex with the rent money? I tell you, this Puerto Rican actor who was serving looks in The Shield and Blue Bloods has been through it in Hollywood. Now listen, Luis wasn't born with no silver spoon. Born on February 25th, 1973, to Flor Maria Cupeles and Don Luis Ramos, this man came from San Germán, Puerto Rico, and ended up in the Bronx. That's right, while other actors were taking fancy classes and had daddy's connections, Luis was learning real-life lessons in those New York streets. Growing up in the hood shaped everything about how this man moves in the industry. And unlike these overnight Instagram celebrities we got now, Luis actually put in the work. The minute he discovered acting, it was on. This man started booking roles when other actors were still waiting tables and crying into their ramen noodles. Ramos built his name playing all kinds of characters in the 90s on shows like In the House, and Early Edition. But listen, when he showed up on The Shield as Rondell Robinson, that's when folks really started paying attention. Playing a drug dealer trying to go legit, Luis showed he could bring depth to roles that other actors would have made one-dimensional. Even when he wasn't the main character, this man stole every scene he was in. That's talent, baby. He kept that same energy in shows like Blue Bloods, The Huntress, and Power.
I have to say I deserve it. I've been nothing but loyal since we started.
Luis also popped up in films like Do the Right Thing and The Secret Life of the American Teenager. The man stays booked and busy, or at least he was. And let's not forget, this Bronx legend was inducted into the Bronx Walk of Fame. That's right, they put his name on a street sign on the Grand Concourse. The hood always recognizes real, even when Hollywood sleeps. He also got nominated for an ALMA award in 2002 for his work in The Huntress. He went on to win the Helen Hayes Award in Theater for his work in the play Stand Up Tragedy, and the critically acclaimed one-man show, Growing Up Gonzalez. Now here's where we need to keep it all the way real. Despite having talent for days, Luis faced the same foolishness that many Latino actors deal with in Hollywood, being typecast. Tell me why this brilliant actor was constantly offered roles as drug dealers, gangbangers, and criminals. Make it make sense. In this interview from 2015, he rarely does interviews, so you know he was fed up. Luis said, "I've played more drug dealers than I can count. At some point, you start to wonder if that's all they see when they look at you." I'm not saying names, but word on the street is that Luis turned down several roles because he was tired of playing stereotypes. And you know what happens in Hollywood when you start saying no? They start acting like they don't know your number. Now, unlike these celebrities who can't wait to put their business all over Instagram, Luis keeps his personal life private. No messy divorces, no baby mama drama hitting the blogs, nothing. This man moves differently. In his spare time, when he's not competitive cycling, hiking, and playing baseball, he's busy with his blog. What we do know is that family means everything to him. He talks about his mama raising him right, teaching him about hard work and staying connected to his roots. That's probably why he's so particular about how Latino characters are portrayed on screen. Luis ain't just collecting checks. He cares about the culture. Listen, in 2013, Luis landed what should have been his big break on ABC's Lucky 7.
This morning, I've been saving money into that can instead of blowing it on the Gold Star lottery pool.
A show about lottery winners. Finally, a major network show with diversity that wasn't about selling drugs or being in a gang. We were ready. But guess what happened? The network canceled that show after 3 episodes. 3! I've had leftovers in my fridge longer than that show was on air. It became one of the fastest cancellations in ABC history, and honey, the timing couldn't have been worse. Now, Luis never came out and blasted ABC publicly. He's too classy for that, but sources close to the production say there was all kinds of tension behind the scenes. This cancellation hit different because the TV landscape was finally starting to embrace diversity, and Lucky 7 could have made Luis a leading man instead of the sidekick. Instead, he was back to auditioning for guest spots. The disrespect. Now, Luis ain't out here beefing with co-stars on X or showing up in TMZ videos fighting outside clubs. That's not his style. But let me tell you, industry insiders say he's had some words with certain producers who kept trying to put him in stereotypical roles. One producer, and I'm not naming names but they know who they are, was overheard at an industry party saying, "Luis is great, but he needs to understand what works for him." Excuse me? What works for him? Or what works for your limited imagination? The audacity. Y'all, in 2016, something scary went down. While filming on the set of Blue Bloods, Luis reportedly collapsed and had to be rushed to the hospital. He's kept quiet about what exactly happened, but whatever it was serious enough to make him take a break from working. Sometimes it takes a health scare to make you reevaluate everything. After that incident, friends say Luis became way more choosy about his roles. He started focusing on quality over quantity. And honestly, can you blame him? Life is too short to be playing drug dealer number 3 when you've got the talent to be the lead. But don't count Luis out. Like my grandmama always said, cream rises to the top. Luis got a second win when he landed that juicy role on Power, playing Jukebox's father, Domingo Zapata. Finally, a role with some meat on the bones where he could show his emotional range. Before then, he starred in The Ministers.
You better than me?
What?
It's a simple question. You think you're better than me?
His performance, which had critics like, "Who is this?" As if the man hadn't been working his behind off for decades. Better late than never, I guess. Now here's something the gossip blogs won't tell you. While other actors are out here posting black squares and calling it activism, Luis has been quietly putting in work to improve Latino representation in Hollywood. Instead of making noise, he's mentoring young Latino actors and working with writers behind the scenes to create authentic characters. He reportedly told an up-and-coming actor, "I'd rather be part of the solution than just complain about the problem." That's a word. As for his coins, Luis is worth about $2 to $3 million. Now that might not be Will Smith money, but for a character actor, that's respectable. This man has built his wealth through consistency and versatility. No blockbuster paydays, just steady work and smart investments. There's a lesson in there. Recently, Luis has been keeping the lights on with appearances in Law & Order Organized Crime and other TV shows. But what's really interesting is the word around town that he's developing his own content. That's right, stepping behind the camera as a producer to create the kinds of stories Hollywood won't give him. He hasn't made any big announcements yet, but my sources say he's focusing on quality projects that speak to his experience and community, and I am here for it. So what's the real story with Luis Antonio Ramos? Is he Hollywood's best-kept secret, a talented actor who never got his flowers, or is he exactly where he's supposed to be, a respected character actor who's built a career on his own terms? Honestly, it's probably somewhere in between. Luis represents what it's really like for working actors of color in Hollywood. Not everybody gets to be Denzel, but building a decades-long career in an industry that will chew you up and spit you out, that takes talent, resilience, and a whole lot of patience. What makes Luis special is that he's always kept it 100. In an industry full of fake smiles and air kisses, this man has remained true to himself and his roots.
You sure about that? I'm pretty sure.
The one thing I hate in this world is dishonesty.
And it shows in every performance, whether he's playing a cop, a criminal, or a concerned father. Luis Antonio Ramos might not be a household name, but trust and believe you've seen his face more times than you can count. His journey shows both the struggles and possibilities for Latino actors in Hollywood, the stereotyping and limited opportunities, but also the potential to build something meaningful and help change the game from the inside. As the industry slowly, and I mean slowly, becomes more inclusive, actors like Luis have been quietly laying the groundwork. The next generation of Latino actors might have an easier time because of people like him who refuse to just take any role that came their way. So the next time Luis Antonio Ramos pops up on your screen, put some respect on his name. You're not just watching an actor. You're watching a survivor and a pioneer who's been fighting the good fight while delivering quality performances. And that deserves all the applause.